Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
Hi, are you alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I enjoyed the finale yesterday, which obviously we're going to talk about now, but I'm already into like depressed mode because we've got 7 weeks of no MCU, and it's just.
Do you know, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, I'm just, what do we do for the next few weeks? Especially when you're in lockdown.
That's really, isn't that really sad though? It's like our lives have just stopped because there's no MCU for 7 weeks. Yeah, it's not good. We need to get out more. So got quite a. I know we say this every week. We have got an absolutely rammed episode this week. There's quite a bit of news to go through. We've had a couple of trailers drop this week, so we're going to go briefly talk about the MODOK trailer, and we'll do a bit of a breakdown of the Shang Chi trailer as well that dropped earlier in the week. We've got loads of news. We've got news about The Flash, Sonic the Hedgehog, Thor, Venom, Secret Invasion, a bit of news came out about that, and some big, I don't know, should we say news or rumours about the MCU Netflix characters. So that'll be quite interesting to go through as well. And then, as always, we'll do the full Falcon The Winter Soldier episode breakdown of the finale, and then we will go through listeners' thoughts and theories. We've got a lot of people who've got in touch this week, which is absolutely brilliant. Lots of people giving their opinions about particularly John Walker, which I think we sort of guessed we get quite a lot of strong opinions on. So before we get into anything, just to confirm, there will be spoilers and speculation, because sometimes we're right, so we might potentially spoil things with news or theories, so just be warned. Just to let you know as well, next week, because there isn't any MCU out, we will be doing a full breakdown of the Invincible series on Amazon Prime, because it's the finale next Friday, so me and Anthony are going to cram in the whole series this week and then give you a full breakdown next week. So if you've not watched it yet and you obviously want to take part in next week's episode, get cramming in. I think there's 8 episodes, or there will be by next Friday. And as always, if you're enjoying the podcast and you like what we're talking about and all that sort of stuff, that sounded so rubbish. But if you are enjoying the podcast, please do leave us a review. Do you just want to do it, Anthony? Please leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts would be absolutely great. 5-star reviews, though. Don't leave us bad ones, because that'll upset us.
Because we'll find you. We'll find you.
Anthony will hunt you down, and he will find you if you leave us a 1-star review. Don't try it. Don't
I won't fight. I'll just cry on your doorstep.
That's it. And I'll sit and cheer him on and go on, Anthony, you give him some good crying. So let's get into the news then. So we'll start with DC news. So this week we've had a few bits of news released about the Flash, so Ezra Miller's The Flash. Deadline reported earlier in the week that filming had already started in London, and there was a new logo and title card released by Andy Muschietti on Twitter. It's pretty much what you'd expect. Did you? I'm gonna ask the question. Did you see it? Have you seen the new Flash logo?
No. I haven't,
T-shirts are available on the merch store. I didn't even plan that, but brilliant. Well done. That was a good segue. We're getting good at this.
I genuinely haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? It's what you'd expect. It's just it's the Flash logo. It says The Flash. It kind of gives a bit of a hint at the suit. You know, the concept art that's out there of Ezra Miller or the Flash and Batman. He looks like he's got more of a fabric suit, so it looks more like that.
I've just seen it now.
Have you done a really quick Google?
Yeah, it looks good.
Good. It does look good. It looks like the Flash. To be fair, when I was going through, because I think I put it on Twitter, like a picture of it, and I Googled Flash logo or new Flash logo, and I had to really, really check whether it was the same one as the TV show or whether I was putting the right one on Twitter, because it does look similar. But what else are you gonna do?
It looks. Logo. Do you know what though? It does look a bit Shazam-y as well.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I think, which I think is good, because it looks a bit more light-hearted. They're not going down the super dark and gritty route, which is where most DC films have seemed to go. Obviously, the Snyder Cut was really good, but I suppose it's they're testing something else out, aren't they? They're trying to go down a little bit of a not so depressing route. There was a bit more news about The Flash this week. I had written down when it talked about London, when it talked about them filming in London, that Michael Keaton hadn't been confirmed, and then I had to scrap it all because Michael Keaton's now been confirmed for the for the film. The Rap has contacted his talent agency, which is ICM Partners, and they've confirmed that he will be reprising his role as Batman. I still find it, and that was earlier in the week. That was about 4 or 5 days ago, and there's still not been any official confirmation, which does make me wonder why have they not gone into it in a bit more detail? Because it's big news, that, isn't it? And they've gone as far as releasing like the title card on Twitter. You'd think if it was 100%, somebody would have come out and confirmed it. So
but then again, look
how
long it took for Doc Ock to be confirmed.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because that was rumoured for a good 2 months before that interview came out. So,
and that's still not even official confirmation, is it? I suppose
no.
when you think about it.
No, not really. So, I don't know. I'm very excited.
Aren't we lucky that we're getting two multiverses here? It's all happening this. We've never... I suppose no comic book movie franchise has ever got big enough to be getting into like the whole multiverse side of things, and we're getting two in like the same year, so it's going to be
mad, isn't it?
A year of each other. It's going to be brilliant. A bit more DC news. Dave Bautista. We are in DC. We're not jumping to Marvel. He was interviewed at JusticeCon while he's been promoting Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. And he's confirmed that he actually took a meeting with Warner Brothers in DC and told them, just hands down, he wants to play Bane. Unfortunately, they said that they're not looking to cast Bane at the moment, so it doesn't look like it's happening. He didn't actually say when this meeting happened, so it could have been years ago, could have been 6 weeks ago. We don't know. He'd be a good pick for Bane, though, wouldn't he?
He would. It would be decent for Bane, to be fair.
It'd be like what we'd expect of Bane in the comics rather than what they did with Tom Hardy, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then last bit of DC news, we are still talking about Restore the Snyderverse, #Restore the Snyderverse. A number of fans with, I'm not going to say too much time, but clearly too much money, have paid for a van and a plane to circle Warner Brothers headquarters in LA with posters attached to them saying Restore the Snyderverse. I don't think it's going to happen, guys. It didn't do that. It didn't apparently do that well on HBO Max. So, although I suppose they got the Snyder Cut release, didn't they?
They did, but it's funny you should say that because they've done a similar thing. They've a load of fans have bought a billboard. So I can't even remember where it is now. But they've put "Bring Back Tony Stark."
No, you can't bring back Tony Stark.
Yeah, well, this is the thing now.
His death meant a lot, didn't it, at the end of the game? Well,
this is the thing for me now. Like, with a lot of shows, like, the deaths have been so important that in some ways the multiverse could potentially ruin that.
I think it'd be all right if it was multiverse different versions as like a cameo, but don't bring him like full on back.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. Is like if you're done with a character, be done with it. Don't bring it back because of demand or because you want to, like, I mean, I know some people are like doing nostalgic jumps at the minute and stuff like that, but as a general rule, like, apart from now that we're seeing Black Widow, I don't think we should see Natasha again after that.
No, I don't. I think we should see. Yeah.
The only person potentially that I think I'd like to still see, because I don't feel like the story was over, was Gamora.
Yeah, there's a bit of news about Gamora, but yeah, I agree. What about Steve?
Yeah. Again, I think in whatever capacity he's coming back in, it is only going to be a small part, and I'm okay with that. Whether it's old Steve or whether it's a jump back to see him return the Infinity Stones or something like that, I'm okay with that. But I just don't think that it should be a revival of a character.
No,
it shouldn't be them coming back.
I think I'd be all right if it was either multiverse cameo type thing. Or I think it'd also be okay if they wanted to bring Robert Downey Jr. back and he kind of acted as a bit of a Jarvis, like his conscience has been uploaded to something and he was he was advising somebody else, or he was in it from time to time. But yeah, you can't. It just
or as you say, in a multiverse, like they go to stop somebody in an alternate universe and it's at a convention where Tony Stark is talking. And you just see him for like 30 seconds and hear him being his stupid self. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And Robert Downey Jr. still get paid a fortune. Didn't he get paid like $50 million to do like 3 minutes of screen time in Spider-Man Homecoming? So I'm sure he'd be up for it, like a 2-minute cameo or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we need to. I'd love to see the Snyderverse come back. I just think it's not. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
So some other news that's not DC or Marvel, quite big news, surprisingly big news on Twitter that people were really hyped about, is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We knew that started filming a couple of weeks ago. There are set photos, and clearly they're not real, but they've got stand-ins for Sonic and Knuckles, Tails, who we knew was going to be in it, and then there's a Knuckles stand-in as well, spotted on set. So that's clearly the confirmation that Knuckles is going to be in the movie. But he looks good. It looks like it should look, following the absolute mess of the original Sonic. So people seem quite hyped for that.
Still going to be James Marsden as well, or is that?
Yeah, it is James Marsden. Yeah. Do you know what? Somebody on Twitter put this because he's been seen filming, and I can't remember the lady who played his wife in the first movie, but she's back for it as well. And people have said that so many times with animated movies, or that this type of film, the human leads won't come back for the second, and it'll be like it'll be somebody else playing them, or it'll just focus on the characters. So it's good that they've brought back James Marsden for it. I mean, he's not doing much else, is he? But it's
he's been quiet a bit recently.
He has, hasn't he? He was shafted in X-Men though, wasn't he? Let's be honest. He should have more to do. But yeah, that'll be good. And then other little bit of news before we get into Marvel. I can't believe this one's happening. We are getting a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie. Wow. It's being starring and being produced by Vin Diesel.
I think you've said enough.
That's it, isn't it? Do you know what the thing? Do you know what the thing that makes it sound worse? Right, There's not been it might be good. It's probably not going to be, but it might be good. But they've not released a full synopsis or breakdown of what the movie's going to be about. But the rumor is that it's going to be about some guy and his son finding an old fighting robot and restoring it, and it becoming like friends with them. And isn't that just Real Steel with Hugh Jackman? Isn't that just the same film? Have you not seen that? Do you know what? It's shocking, but it's quite. Do you know what? I quite enjoy Real Steel, but that's just it's just Real Steel. Real Steel is he's an ex-boxer, and boxing's now not happening anymore. I'm getting far too into this. Boxing isn't happening anymore, so because they do it with robots, and they find an old robot, him and his son, and they get it sort of fixed up, and then become friends with it. And it's the same movie. We've seen it.
It's also the first 10 minutes of Big Hero 6.
Yeah. It's it. It's just it is, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, what happens with that? I've got when you got a feeling something gets announced and it's just not actually going to materialize. I'm going down that route. Marvel news. Then we've got quite a bit of Marvel news because we've got trailers and stuff. So Joe Manganiello, I think I pronounced that right. He was at Justice Con and he was asked if he'd ever be up for returning to Spider-Man as Flash Thompson. If we're doing a multiverse thing. He basically said he didn't think he'd want to do it because it's not a big enough part, but he did say that he'd been offered a part in a Marvel film a few years ago. He wouldn't say who it was because he didn't want to put down the actor who was cast, and he said he turned it down because it wasn't a massive part, and he'd obviously been offered such a massive part in the Snyderverse as Deathstroke, which clearly didn't, unfortunately for him, go to plan because it's not happening. I would imagine it's probably not happening anyway. I was trying to think of who it could be that he had been cast as. I think it's quite good of him not to sit there and go, "Oh, I was offered this part before this guy was." But I think it might have been Brock Rumlow or Crossbones from Winter Soldier and Civil War. I don't know why because it's not a huge part, is it? Quite memorable, but I think that's who I can see him. I could see him being. We've got some news about WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier at the Emmys. They're both being put forward, which isn't a shock, by Marvel Studios for awards, best drama and stuff. They've been nominated for completely separate categories though, which is clearly Marvel trying to be quite strategic and get as many awards out of it as possible. So the Falcon the Winter Soldier has been submitted for best drama series, and WandaVision is going for best limited series. So limited series clearly meaning that it's not going to get a sequel or there's not going to be a season 2. That's what I normally mean by limited series, which is kind of confirmation. But I didn't think there was going to be a WandaVision series 2 anyway. I don't see how you could do it. Whereas Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, clearly you could get a second series out of that.
You could.
I
don't think you should.
Should we skip a bit of news? The other bit of news that came out last thing, it's not my next thing on my list, but go on, Anthony, you've completely scuppered it. We'll get.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's my fault. I started talking about it. I just wasn't prepped enough because I should have ordered these in the right way. The big bit of news that came out last night, which we've obviously talked about, is that Captain America 4 is in development. So the Hollywood Reporter has spoke to Malcolm Spellman, who's the showrunner on Falcon the Winter Soldier, and he's confirmed that he is now developing a Captain America 4 with one of the other writers from Falcon the Winter Soldier TV series. That's absolutely brilliant news. It's just me.
Right. So here's my thing. Right.
Go on.
Because they've also said that it's not going to be Chris Evans. Chris Evans is not associated with this in development at the moment.
No.
I don't think it should be called Captain America 4 if it's a new Captain America.
Well, what if it was Captain? What if we've said we're going to spoil Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we've got the title card Captain America and the Winter Soldier. What if that's the next movie?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, but like if you've put a number 4 there, then for me it would mean that it's like
it's a continuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll call it Captain America 4 though.
Yeah, but all I mean is to be calling it Captain America 4.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right now, even without the full title or whatever it is that they're going to call it, it sounds like a continuation rather than the development of a new Captain America.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
No, I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean.
So that's the only thing.
I think it's not. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but it's clearly going to be Sam as the new Captain America. But yeah. I'm good with that. I think because I did think when I'd watched the season finale yesterday, and it was clearly implied that there'd be a follow up and it's going to be Captain America and the Winter Soldier. My first thought was it's brilliant because I want to see more of Sam as Cap, but it's kind of a bit crap maybe that he's probably now going to go forward as Captain America without his own movie and it's going to be TV series on Disney Plus instead. So when that news then broke pretty much straight after the finale got released that there's going to be a Cap 4 movie. So I was really happy about it. I just thought brilliant. My one concern that we're not, is not going to be treated big enough.
Yeah,
is now sort of gone. But you're quite right as well with the Chris Evans bit. So Deadline, who originally reported that Chris Evans was coming back to the MCU in some capacity, they've come out and confirmed that this isn't it. He's going to have his own separate project going on, which is great as well. We had a bit of Venom news, rumors, shall we call it. So a guy called Amit Chowdhury, who works with Sony India, has confirmed that they have finished changing the trailer into multiple languages, so he would expect that it's going to drop anytime. He's quite a reliable source. Apparently he seems to be quite hot on when trailers are dropping because of obviously his connections. I'm really excited to see Woody Harrelson as Carnage. I know we saw him very briefly at the end of the first Venom film, and I think it was a bit of a shoehorned in moment, but I'm really looking forward to what he does because he's a brilliant actor, isn't he?
I love Woody Harrelson.
He's great, isn't he? I love him.
Yeah.
He's really good. Everything. I've never seen him in anything. I mean, I might have not have seen all. I've not seen all his films or TV shows clearly, but everything I've ever seen him in, I've just thought he is like the stand-up character. He's absolutely brilliant. There was a bit of what if news, so that's going to be one of the next things released. Now, I say news. A couple of places have treated this as news. I treat it as a rumor because it got sort of let's call it leaked. Got leaked by someone on Instagram called Boner Bricks. Boner as in Ralph Boner. He's only got 227 followers. Now, I don't know him. It's the first time he's been brought to my attention, but I just wonder if he's got 227 followers, how solid is his info? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's said that he's seen some Lego figures for future Marvel Lego sets. So he's seen like WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier. Most of the characters that he said there's minifigures for are all what you'd expect, like Star-Lord as T'Challa as Star-Lord, Captain Britain, Peggy Carter. Some that aren't necessarily confirmed but are rumoured. He reckons there's going to be a Lady Loki figure, which I thought we all pretty much know anyway. There's going to be a Loki and Throg figure, which is when Thor gets turned into a frog, which would be quite interesting if we ended up with that in Loki series. And the big one, which people are talking about, is that there's going to be a Spider-Man minifigure, but it's Steve Rogers under the mask. So it's not Peter Parker. So it's going to be an alternate universe where instead of being Captain America, Steve Rogers becomes Spider-Man. I don't know if that's ever been done in the comics or not, but I'd be quite interested to see see what they do with that for certain. Secret Invasion news. So there's a rumor at the start of the week that Olivia Colman was in final negotiations for a role in the series. No mention as to who she's going to be playing. And then a couple of days later, or the next day, Variety have confirmed that Emilia Clarke has now signed on to the cast. Again, though, there's no mention of who she's going to be playing at all. You were buzzing about this, weren't you?
I was buzzing about this. I love Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see what they do with that. Who she's going to be playing, I don't know. There's a few people thinking she's going to be a Skrull, so like a Skrull queen, and there's a few other people saying that she could be introduced maybe as Sue Storm, and this could be the first introduction of the Fantastic Four. I'd be good with her playing Sue Storm. I can't think of who would play her. I've not really been able to sort of put in my head as to who I would want. Oh, we've got Emily Blunt, but I think that's just fan casting. I don't think it's going to happen. But
do you know what? I think if anyone was going to play Queen of the Skrull, I think Olivia Colman would be amazing.
Yeah, I think she'd be good
in that kind of role.
I think she'd said in an interview about 5 years ago that she'd love to be in the MCU and she'd love to play a baddie. She'd love to be a villain, and I think she'd be brilliant as an MCU villain. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with that. Last couple of bits, rumors. Or a rumor, this one, the hashtag show, who are usually pretty reliable, they reckon that the Netflix characters, as we mentioned before, are going to be coming back to the MCU, which is really exciting. So not all of them. They say Charlie Cox is going to be back as Matt Murdock, Kristen Ritter is going to be back as Jessica Jones, John Bernthal will be back as the Punisher, and the one I'm most excited for is Vincent D'Onofrio coming back as Wilson Fisk or the Kingpin. I didn't watch all of Daredevil. I watched the first series. I thought he was brilliant in it. He was one of the best parts. There's no mention as to Finn Jones coming back as Iron Fist or Mike Coulter coming back either, which is a bit. I watched bits. Mike Coulter was in the first series of Jessica Jones as Luke Cage, and he was really good in that. So hopefully it's just that they've not been confirmed yet. And they're gonna. So the big news, which I don't think I've said yet, they're coming back as the characters that they've played, but not the versions from the Netflix shows that we've seen. So potentially like multiverse kind of thing, or whether they're just gonna. It's just we've got the rights. People love them as the characters, but we don't want the Netflix shows to be canon. Either way, though, I'm good with that. I think that'll be really good. I know people are dying to get Charlie Cox in Spider-Man No Way Home. So that'll be brilliant if he shows up there. And then last couple of bits of news. There's loads of news this week, I said. Disney and Sony have reached another deal. It's only about content on Disney Plus, so it's going to mean that after it's come out at the cinema and then it's gone to Netflix, Sony content is going to be coming onto Disney Plus, which means we're going to get all the Spider-Man movies into Disney Plus, which will mean that you can watch the whole MCU now on Disney Plus, which will be good. It's not huge movie related news, but I think the fact that they're playing nice again, Disney and Sony, it's obviously it's good for it. It's
really positive. Yeah,
exactly. We had, before we get into trailers, last little bit of news, Russell Crowe is potentially going to get in big trouble. He was on a Aussie radio station, Joy 94.9 I think it's called, and he let slip that his his part in Thor Love and Thunder is going to be Zeus, which has got everybody massively hyped. He's a big character in the comics. Hercules was an Avenger at one point in the comics, and this is clearly just opening up a whole new realm of characters for the MCU, which is great.
I didn't realise it was accidental.
I thought maybe I'm wrong. I just assume. I don't think it was accidental. I just don't think.
Oh.
I can't see. I think he. I get it. I get the impression he was like he's not really bothered. He's just like, I'll just tell you, I'm not interested. I just don't think if Marvel were going to announce it, they'd do it as a little throwaway conversation on an Australian radio show. I think they'd do like a big cast announcement.
Yeah.
But it's great that I said they're opening up a whole new realm of characters. I don't think it's going to be a massive part. They said cameo, and obviously Christian Bale's going to be the villain in Thor: Love and Thunder, and he's going to be playing Gore the God Butcher. So I would imagine it's going to be a couple of minutes, if that, of Christian Bale murdering Russell Crowe, but potentially. But either way, I'll watch it. I'm all right with that. I'm good with that. Trailers. So we had a MODOK trailer get released this week. That came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that. I think it looks really good. So it's coming to Hulu in the USA. And then I don't know why. I'm tired. We're recording this early today. We normally can't record this like early afternoon, and we've got up really early to do it today. Sorry if I completely cock up the podcast. So Hulu in the USA, Disney Plus everywhere else. It's got Patton Oswalt as MODOK. I think in the trailer as well we saw John Hamm as Iron Man and Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man. Love Nathan Fillion and Patton Oswalt as well, and John Hamm as well. Let's not forget John Hamm. But really, really good cast so far. It's got like a stop motion claymation type of feel, hasn't it? You've seen the trailer, haven't you? Yeah, I sent it. Yeah, I know you've seen this one. I like that. So the idea of the show is that he's obviously this big super villain who's like maybe taking control of the world at this point, and it's going to be based around his family life in the suburbs with his wife and 2 kids, one of whom looks like a young female version of MODOK. I think it looks really good. It's purely a comedy show, isn't it?
Wait, hang on. I don't think I saw this one.
Oh, what?
Because it's it's Shang Chi. I've seen. I was trying to make sure. I was trying to make sure that I'd watched it, because I knew that the trailer had come up for this one. And I was like, "Don't be a pleb, Anthony, because you sound like an idiot every week when you haven't seen it."
We need to watch it. We're doing a breakdown of Shang-Chi. You need to watch Shang-Chi. No, I know you've seen Shang-Chi because you sent me bits on it. No, I think MODOK looks good though. It's clearly a comedy series. You know, we were talking last week about Deadpool potentially getting his own animated series. I think it's going to be the same sort of idea as that. But it's coming out quite soon. I think it's coming out in May, so not long to wait for it. So I'll be quite interested to see what that does. And then let's get on to it then. Shang-Chi trailer. So should we do a bit of a breakdown as to what it's about? I mean, what did you think of the trailer first? You excited off the back of it?
Do you know what? Actually, haven't seen this one.
Really?
Yeah. No, I really liked it, and I really liked that. I can't remember the girl's name that's in it. But she was in Jumanji.
Yeah, Awkwafina.
Too. Yeah. I absolutely loved her from that.
I know,
watching that, I know that she's got insane acting skills.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what she does in this. To be fair,
I agree. She's all. I've not seen her in loads of things, but definitely in Jumanji 2, she was like a standout performance. The way she was like switching when she was playing Danny DeVito's character, it was amazing.
It was so funny.
Brilliant.
Just walking around like,
yeah, it was good. I like that. Yeah. So it doesn't really give a massive amount away. The trailer
it doesn't.
That I got from it. So it's Shang-Chi has left his father. He's obviously been trained to be some sort of like master assassin or something like that, or because his dad is a guy called Wenwu, and he is the Mandarin. So forget Trevor Slattery, like we could ever forget Trevor Slattery. He's one of my favorite MCU characters. Trevor Slattery. He's absolutely amazing. He's so good. That gif, I keep posting that on Twitter where he's like got his hands up. He's like, oh, bloody hell. Calm down.
I love it so much.
I panicked, but then I handled it, and I'm doing like the opening the can of beer at the same time. It's so good. I don't get why people hate him, but we're getting the proper Mandarin, so getting played by Tony Leung, and it looks so he's Shang-Chi's dad, and he's basically let him go and live a normal life for 10 years and said your time's up, you need to come back. So he's obviously running the 10 rings, so he's really the Mandarin running it. The 10 rings are portrayed very differently in the trailer, seemingly, to what they are in the comics. So in the comics, they are literally like 10 rings that you wear on your fingers, and they're kind of like not as powerful as Infinity Stones, but they all have like different abilities. So they, each one grants you like a different power. But in the trailer, it looks like they're like pretty big, and they go like round
like Sonic rings.
Shot. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. And it gives you just like superhuman strength. I would imagine that Shang-Chi will end up with it by the end, and that's how he's gonna get involved more with the Avengers. Clearly, he's very really skilled in what he's doing. I mean, he's getting played by Simu Liu, who just from the bits, I mean, I've not seen him in much. He's in a show in the States called Kim's Convenience, which I've not seen. He asked on Twitter, he like tweeted Marvel like 3 or 4 years ago before this was even in production, saying, are we going to talk about me playing Shang-Chi? Just like randomly, like I want to play them, and now he's ended up playing Shang-Chi, which is brilliant.
I mean, if that's how easy it is, I'm just going to do the same thing.
I'm getting on it. Who do you want to play?
I don't know. I'll
let's
take
pick,
anything, yeah.
Let's pick someone and we'll start harassing Marvel. We'll just send them a tweet like every week and just being like, we want to be this person. We'll have a think. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know who you want us to play in the MCU. Be nice.
Yeah, please be nice.
Be kind. Not a crap character. Someone good. I'm thinking like multiverse Thor for myself. Shut up. But yeah, it looks really good. The other thing that I think that the main takeaway I took from it was the fight scenes and the action scenes look absolutely brilliant. Like all the like old school looking wire work stuff. Massively different from anything we've seen in the MCU before. Even like with all like the different fighting styles that we've seen.
I was going to say it looks like they're taken from a lot of the martial arts film that you've seen over the years. Like it's a bit of an homage to that in a way,
which is great, isn't it? Because we've not seen anything like that, and we've never seen it. The MCU's been going so long, and we've not seen anything like this before. So it's nice to, not that it was getting boring in the MCU, but it's nice to have a bit of a change up and a slightly different style of film coming out. I mean, look how good WandaVision did. That it was completely different from anything we've ever seen, and it did so well. The only I had a little bit of I was a bit confused as to like where we're going though with the MCU, because we've got Shang Chi, who I'm not going to say like street level, but he's got like he's probably going to end up with the 10 rings by the end of it, and he's going to have superhuman strength. But I would imagine he's going to be in the same sort of power set as like Bucky and John Walker now, and Sam with his suit. So we've got this like level of character or level of power, and then we've also got the other extreme now with like Wanda and Doctor Strange, and it's like, I think we've talked about this before, it's like, where's it going to go, the MCU?
It's like taking knives to a gun battle, innit?
Yeah, we're going to end up with, it's like if the Avengers, or if these all form together to be the next Avengers, we're either going to end up with them fighting something massively powerful like Dormammu again, and the only people who are going to be able to potentially handle it are going to be Wanda and Doctor Strange, or we're going to end up fighting somebody who's not at that power level, who, even like Ultron sort of thing, who Wanda and or Doctor Strange, they're going to have to write them out in some way, because they could just snap their fingers and they'd be gone. So I do wonder whether we're going to end up with maybe either Wanda and Doctor Strange won't be part of the Avengers, or we're going to end up with different teams doing different things, which I'd be good with that if we ended up with like one team of Avengers, because in the comics then they've got like a West Coast Avengers, which is a different team fighting different types of.
I was going to say like an Earth Avengers and then Avengers 2.0 that they call in when they're really struggling.
Yeah, well, even I mean, like, obviously the Guardians, they're the sort of space team, aren't they? But even if it was that type of thing, and they split over into two. But yeah, it does. I'm always interested to see what's going to happen in the MCU going forward. But yeah, it did get me thinking. I think that's it for news. Quite a lot, which is good, because we haven't had a really busy news week for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Should we get into the season finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Let's do it.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Clearly, there's going to be spoilers. I thought we'd do it the same way as we always do. We'll do like a full breakdown, but it was so fast paced. I think that we're probably going to end up with a bit more of a quick breakdown of the episode, and then more of a discussion as to like what's happening with characters and stuff like that. But let's fly through a breakdown. So it was probably the quickest opening we've ever had before we got the title card of any episode. We literally just got a very quick breakdown as to what happened in the last episode. Carly saying it's time to go, and then we were literally just straight into the title card and straight into the episode, and it was so fast paced. I mean, you watched this before me, and you text me to say it goes straight into the action, it's fast paced, but I did not expect it to be this busy. It's like trying to from a podcasting point of view, trying to make notes on it was just like horrendous.
Well, I said to you as well last week, didn't I, that I didn't think it was just gonna be straight in. You see him fighting with the suit on. It wasn't gonna be like you'll see the suit, he suits up and then goes. We were just gonna jump straight into it because of the way it ended, and that's exactly what happened. Well,
they had to, because it was a shorter episode than we've had for most of the series as well, wasn't it? So
do you know what, I didn't even notice.
It's like, I think with credits it was 50 minutes or 51 minutes.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, which isn't massively long. I was expecting over an hour for the finale, but you were absolutely spot on. Straight into straight into the action. So we know, I don't think we see him really, do we? We know Sam's on his way to the GRC building.
We see him from a distance flying, which means that he got his wings, which I was right about. Yes,
I know. I didn't think, but I was purely relying on you from all your theories from last week. I was like, when we saw the fact that he was flying straight away, I was like, I didn't think we'd see that. I thought we'd get him like, on foot, and then like towards the end he'd break out the wings and they'd keep us guessing throughout the episode as he still got the wings or not. But yeah, we were straight in there. Bucky obviously heading to the GRC building as well, and then we see Sharon, which I didn't expect to see Sharon that quick, because I thought we'd see her in the episode to see what she'd been up to, but I didn't think she'd be going. She'd roll up in the States. She's got the face changer, which is from Captain America: Winter Soldier, so I thought that was quite a good little nod back to that. And then in the GRC building where the meeting's going on, the flag smashes, let gas go everywhere, and then we're literally straight in, like a minute in, we see Sam fly up to the building, throw his shield through the window, and then come flying in, bursting through the window, and that's the first time we get a full look at his suit. So let's stop. Have you watched it once or twice now?
I've just watched it the once.
Have you? What are your thoughts now after getting used to the suit a little bit? Go on. What did you think? Or what did you think when you first saw it?
If I'm totally honest, the first thought was, do you know what I mean? I looked at it and I thought, why does it just stop halfway up his head? Like, either do a helmety thing or don't do a helmety thing. Yeah. Like, don't just put something to above your ears and then stop. It seems weird. And I must admit, even now that it's sunk in and I do quite like the suit, I still don't understand that bit and think it's unnecessary.
It's just from the comics, isn't it? Because it just wants
I get
to
that. I think it's like
his goggles or his visor.
I was going to say for the goggles, but I'm not a fan of that.
No, I know what you mean. When he first came through the window, I don't know how to explain it. It's exactly what I thought it'd look like, but not what I thought it'd look like. Does that make sense? On paper, it's exactly what I'd seen in like toys and descriptions of what the suit would be like and what it'd look like in the comics.
But seeing it on a real human,
I was a bit like, when he came through, I was like, oh my god, he's got the suit. He's straight into the suit. It's exactly what we thought it'd be. And then I saw it and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. It just it grew, like you though. It completely grew on me by the end of the episode. Yeah, I do like it now, and some of the shots that we see throughout the episode of it, I'm fully on board with it now. But
there's a lot of white on it.
It was too bright. Do you know? Yeah. It was. And I like the fact that I think when the MCU started, I think they had to be careful about not looking too comic booky and sort of toning down the costumes, which is why when Wanda first came to the MCU, we didn't get a full Scarlet Witch costume, and we've only just got it now. But I think that's probably why we were both taken aback a little bit. But I think we've got to the point now where everybody is so into the MCU and so on board with it, and they know what it's about, that they can now start going to the more comic accurate costumes. So we've got a full Scarlet Witch, we've got this, I was going to say,
it takes you back to Elizabeth Olsen talking about when she first joined the MCU and looked at the costume. She was like, I'd never wear that. And then now they got the costume out and she was like,
yeah, I know, it's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was, it was a bit toy-like at first, but I'm completely, I am
on board.
Won over now, I like it. So he comes in and one of the security guards says, "Who are you?" And straight away, he's just like, "I'm Captain America. That's it. I am Captain America." So he's just completely taken the moniker. And then the fact that the guy was like, "Oh, I thought Captain America was on the run." And he comes back later, that guy, doesn't he, at the end, which I thought was good as well. So Sam tells Bucky and Sharon that Carly's not trying to break into the building. She's trying to get everybody out of the building. She's trying to push are these senators? Are they? They're all like senators and world leaders from everywhere, aren't they? So he's trying to push them all out of the building. And then we get Batroc roll up, who constantly just gets in the way through the whole episode. I like him. I've always enjoyed Batroc, but I found him a bit of a pain in the backside in this episode. It was just kind of like he didn't really achieve anything at any point. It was just distraction, which is what Carly said he was there to do. He was there to distract, wasn't he? But I don't know. And, spoilers for the end of the episode, he gets shot at the end of the episode, and I just don't think it was... I was excited when I found out he was coming back after Winter Soldier. I just don't think they made particularly good use of him, and for them to have killed him off, I just think it was a bit of a maybe a bit of a waste. So he rolls up. He's obviously after Sam's blood, isn't he? Or should we call him Cap? Let's call him Cap.
Yeah,
Cap.
So
he's after Cap's blood. They have a fight, and again, Cap. That was so natural. I thought I was going to say Sam and tried to correct myself, but I said Cap. Cap obviously holds his own. Then Carly gets on the phone to Bucky. I was wondering in the first one, it was like how she got his phone number, because I was like looking, making little notes through the first one, and I realised it was one of the Flag Smashers, or one of the Flag Smashers supporters gives him the phone.
Yeah.
And she is just completely trying to distract him. I thought at first I was like, is she trying to convert him or trying to get him to keep out of the way? But it's clear she's just trying to distract him. And his one job was to stop him, which Sharon points out. She says, "You've got Bucky. You had one job. You had one job, Bucky." So while he's been getting distracted, the fake security guards have been putting all the GRC people into trucks, and they're not hostages at this point, but they're getting lined up to be hostages. And this massive Flag Smasher, puts like these weird little locks on the back of the doors so that they can't escape. And then Sharon really, really, I don't know what the word is, like viciously, should we call it? She kills him, doesn't she? She puts like a bomb on him or something like that. And when he gets in the car, it pops, and he just melts.
Yeah.
It was very violent, wasn't it?
She said it was mercury something, didn't she?
She said because she says to Sam, "One down," and Sam says, like, while he's having this fight with Batroc, he says, "How did you manage that?" And she said, "Oh, it was mercury vapor amongst other things." And it did get me wondering, where are we going with the amongst other things, and what is that leading to? But there's loads of theories on this, so we'll do that in theories. So the hostages, or the GRC people, let's call them, they get split up. Some of them are in the vans, obviously, but some of them get taken into this to the helicopter. And Sharon says to Sam, "You need to chase the helicopter." So he kind of doesn't run away from the fight with Batroc, but he sort of shuts down the fight with Batroc, doesn't he? And flies out the window. And I was absolutely buzzing because he's got Red Wing back. We saw Red Wing. I was a bit gutted that he wasn't a real Falcon, because you convinced me with your theory from a couple of weeks ago.
I was gutted.
I was a little bit gutted.
As soon as he said Red Wing, I went, "Yay!" And then it wasn't shaped like a bird or anything. I was like,
I know, but I was glad. I was quite happy that he'd come back. And he says,
well, he had two, didn't he? This time,
did
you notice?
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, because it was. Do you know what? The first time I watched it, it's very dark episode, isn't it? And I did struggle the first time I watched it to sort of make out exactly what was happening and where it was going. So I'm glad we got the second viewing in. And he says to Red Wing, doesn't he? He says, "Has anyone on board got flight training?" And we see the plan come together later on. We go to, then it jumps to Carly and the Flag Smashers, and one of the Flag Smashers is saying to her, it's not going, this isn't working, this isn't going to plan, this isn't what we said was going to happen. And they're starting to question her and starting to say, like, should we just run? We can get away now. We don't have to follow this through. And she's not having any of it. She's just saying, no, worst case scenario, we'll just kill all the hostages, which shows that she's gone like full on dark at this point.
Yeah.
And then she says it doesn't even matter if we die. And clearly the rest of the Flag Smashers are not particularly happy with that. It's like, yeah, no, kind of. Like, yeah, ooh, maybe. Yeah, if you say so. And then she says one word and they don't respond. And it's like, oh yeah, you're losing them here, love. But they do eventually. And then we go back to Cap. And I think I struggled with this. So when the Flag Smasher in the helicopter is trying to get away with the hostages, there's another helicopter there, like a police helicopter, and it sends it into like a downward spiral, and we see Cap like save them. So I think Red Wing gets one of the pilots, and Sam grabs the other one and lands on the bridge. And then the whole helicopter comes down and like lands on him, and he has like a shield over the top, doesn't he?
The shield,
and the wings make up the rest of it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that
was fab.
implies that this suit is like, I know we see more hints at it later on, but it's full on vibranium suit, isn't it? Which we knew. And that shot when he sort of stands up, there's a gif of it going around on Twitter where like the wing comes away and he stands up. That's when I was like, yeah, this suit is really good. I think that's when I bought into it. I thought obviously like everyone was cheering on the bridge as well, and I think it was like a little thing, but it's kind of like people are accepting of him. People are like cheering him on, and he is, recognizing him as the new Captain America. Yeah. So we jump back at that point to, I think we're only like still like 10 minutes into the show at this point, but we jump back to Carly and the Flag Smashers. So they get to the trucks that the other Flag Smasher had locked. They kill the drivers so that they can take the GRC people as hostages, and then that's when Bucky shows up to rescue them. He goes like flying off his bike, doesn't he, and hits one of the flag smashers. So Carly,
which I thought was brilliant, by the way.
What the little
It does the brake so that it goes onto the front wheel, and then he just kind of uses
just
that to propel him. Yeah, I love it.
I like that. It was good. And then again, going full dark, Carly's just like, right, set fire to the van. Distract. He'll get distracted and he'll have to rescue them. And she just doesn't care now, does she? She's just completely gone. She's crossed that line now.
She's got to the point where we're so close. We just need to get this job done, and it doesn't matter the cost.
She doesn't give it. She doesn't care now, does she? She's quite happy to kill anybody she has to. And she says because John shows up now, doesn't he? So Bucky tries to open it, but he can't open it because of that lock on the back of it. And John Walker shows up, who you still hate, but we'll talk about this later. So John Walker shows up and he calls out Carly, and she says, "I didn't mean to kill your friend. I don't want to hurt people that don't matter." And it was a bit. Do you think that was a bit on the nose? It was a bit like.
Well, to me, it was antagonising because she's basically said that your friend didn't matter.
I don't think she was trying to antagonise him, though.
No, I don't think she was trying to.
That's her thought now, but
it was just a blunt thing, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a bit forced. I know, obviously, like this whole show has seen like John go from good to bad and then potentially back, getting closer to good again. But I just feel like, and I think a lot of people are talking about like how quick John has jumped from one to the other. But then at the same time, I feel Carly's made a very big jump very quickly from going to like 2 episodes ago where she was like. She was the villain, wasn't she? But you could sort of, and I still understand where she was coming from, and clearly, Cap does at the end. But it just took a bit too much of a jump for me from going to like, I'm doing what I have to I genuinely don't give a shit about anybody now. I'm just going to kill who I need to, and your friend just doesn't matter.
I think though it went from, we need to do this to it is now happening. It's in place. And these people are relentless, so we need to do something to stop them. I don't think necessarily she was under the impression that they were going to die, because she was betting on them saving the people over fighting her. So
maybe, but then to an extent. Yeah, but look at what happens later on in the episode. It's like, I mean, she blew up the GRC building with loads of people in it.
No, I get that.
Shit. And then she tries to kill the van full of hostages again later on. She literally tries to do it, so she's gone over that line. I don't think she doesn't. I don't see it as I'm sure that Bucky will save them. I mean, I know she sort of thinks that he'll go to save them, but I don't think she's thinking, it'll be okay, he'll get them out. I think it's just like, if they die, they die. I'm really not bothered.
But the difference now is these also aren't the. I'm doing like inverted commas. Civilians.
No, I get what you mean.
These are the people that are making the decision. These are the people that she's mad at. These are the people that are ruining what her hope for a kind of utopia future is.
Yeah, I get that, actually.
So I think it's a mix.
Aren't they?
Yeah. So I think she's like, these people don't matter because these are the ones that are causing the harm. However, if they do save them, then they get saved. If they don't, it's not the end of the world for her, because it puts her closer to a goal. But I think what happens, and it happens in most films, is that when somebody's putting a big plan like this together, when it gets to kind of those final 48 hours that are crucial to their end game, their goal, they seem to just go from, we're fighting this to, this needs to happen no matter what. We can't let anything stop it now. We're too close.
And I think she was happy to die for it.
Yeah, and I think that's why it came across the way it did. I think she'd gotten to the point now where it was like, this needs to happen. We're past the point of no return. If people start dying at this point, it's because the cause needs to be met.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I still think she's crossed the line, but I kind of.
100%.
I'm back into more of a grey area now than a complete, like, she's just a complete psychopath. Do you get?
Well, someone actually reported and I saw it in the news, and I can't remember who did it, but basically said there are no villains in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No, I would agree with that. Apart from maybe Val, who we see again at the end. But I would agree. There aren't any, and I know you're not a fan of John Walker, but we'll get into that later on. But I think that's absolutely spot on. That it's not everybody, because I think Sam and Bucky are like full on good, even though Bucky's had a bit of a villainous past, shall we call it, but the two villains who are in there, who have been portrayed as the baddies from the start, obviously Carly and John, I don't think I think they're completely in a grey area. They're both, the pair of them. I don't think, maybe John's a bit more out of it.
And Zemo, don't forget Zemo.
And Zemo, you completely forgot about Zemo because he was hardly in the episode. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Zemo had gone into not even, in my opinion, he's not even in the grey area anymore. I think he's an anti-hero, but everything he's doing is for probably for good cause.
The right reason. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So we digress. I'm going to get to that on t-shirt as well. So John's obviously really pissed off at Carly, so he just starts laying into them straight away. So we end up with John fighting Carly and a bunch of flag smashes while Bucky's trying to open the van door. He's got the shield that he's made himself, and it's just taking an absolute beating because clearly it's not made of vibranium. And then one thing, a very tiny thing, and I didn't even notice it the first time I watched it. When Bucky eventually gets the back of the door off and he gets all the JLC people out, one of them actually stops and shakes his hand and says, "Thank you for saving us." And he says like, "No problem" or something like that, or "You're welcome." And I just thought that's really good for Bucky, because Bucky for the whole series is like, am I good? Am I a hero now, or am I still a villain? And just that tiny little throwaway moment, it was like, you're the hero. You are the hero now. And only now I'm putting it together, but that kind of gets confirmed maybe in about 30 seconds, because Bucky obviously goes and saves John at that point because he's getting absolutely beaten by all these flag smashers, and he gets knocked off the building site, off the top of this building or wherever they are, into a building site, should we say, by one of the flag smashers, and he gets a full-on superhero landing. And I thought, you must have picked up on that and appreciated that. Yeah. But it's kind of like he is a superhero. I saw him
go, and I was like, he needs to land arm first, and then he did it, and I was like, boom, squirrel pose.
Such a stupid moment, but brilliant at the same time. I was made up of it. So we go back to Cap chasing the helicopter. He gets knocked into like a shipping boat and loads of pipes fall on him in the water, and he comes straight back out of it. And again,
he didn't come straight back out, because I thought this. I was like, God, he's under the water for quite some time there. But then I saw the jetpack. You saw the light under the water. Because
so he used it to fly out.
It's that thrusted him to fly back out. And I did wonder about that, whether, I know obviously they're metal and they're not feathers or anything, but the wings being wet, whether that was going to affect how he could get out of the water.
Yeah, I didn't think that, but yeah, I get that. But I think it was just trying to sort of show, because we see it we see like a few points throughout the episode. This guy, and he makes a point of it at the end. He's not got super serum, but he's just like he is Cap now. With this suit, he's just as hard as like Steve Rogers. And somebody said on Twitter, and we're sort of, it's all spoilers, but I think some people have been questioning how without the serum, Sam is now this tough and this hard. But look at Tony. Tony's not got any superpowers. He's got an Iron Man suit, and it's made of like this whatever gold titanium alloy, I think he says in the first film. Sam's now got an Iron Man suit, but it's made of vibranium. That's it, isn't it? That's it. That's it, and that's why he's so hard. And it might not look like a big clunky suit, but Black Panthers doesn't either, does it? It looks like fabric, but it's made of vibranium. So I think that's sort of just trying to sell the fact that he might not have the super serum, but it's like Iron Man without a helmet now. So he comes out of the water anyway, and he puts his plan together. So he's got the senator or whoever she is in the helicopter, and he speaks to her on the phone, doesn't he, and says, "Well, I'm going to count to 5, and then I want you to grab the stick," because he knows she can fly the helicopter. And he just, what does he do? Like throws the shield at the door to knock it out. Red Wing goes around the other side and pulls the other door off, and then Sam just flies right through and takes the pilot out. And then takes him and he drops him into the Hudson, doesn't he? There's a bit of a fight with him on the way down, and flies off. And then we jump back to John and Carly. So the other flag smashers.
So much jumping back and forth, isn't there?
There was, wasn't it? It's why I struggled with my notes. And I was like, I did keep going. Like I was like, what is going on? And that's probably the only negative I'd say about the show, about the episode. It was brilliant, and they had to cram a lot in. But did they have to cram a lot in? Could we not have just given it an extra bit of time on the episode? But it was very jump back and forth. So we jump back to Carly and John. It's just them two now, because the other Flag Smashers are either knocked out or one of them's chasing, but one of them's been fighting Bucky or is fighting Bucky, and there's one of the van with the other van with the hostages that are still in there. The fire's sort of getting towards it, and you can hear them screaming. And John looks at it, and he's just not interested. He's like, I don't care. I'm not helping these people. I want Carly's blood, basically. So he's going after her. They have a bit of a fight, and she ends up getting away with the van with the hostages in it, which he should have just stopped it. And then she drives. See, this is where, and I know obviously they're the GRC people, but she just goes to drive this off the building, which is that she's very intent on getting these guys on killing these guys. And then that's when we get John's. I wouldn't say it was full redemption, because I don't think he can fully redeem himself. I know we've had a bit of a detailed chat about this, but it's his first step on the path to redemption, because he's got Carly going one way and he wants her blood because she obviously killed Lamar, and you can see he's really struggling because he's crazy, isn't he? This serum's made him go completely crazy, but he decides to leave Carly and go and save it. And I think just that shot of him, he throws the shield away because Bucky sees the shield land, doesn't he? And it's like, right, I'm throwing away the fact that I am Captain America.
The shit shield.
Yeah, but it's. I think it is a shit shield, but he's created that shield because he still sees himself as Captain America and still feels that he needs to be Captain America. And that moment of obviously him deciding to leave Carly and go and save the hostages, but him throwing that shield down and throwing it away is him accepting, I'm not Captain America. I'm not Captain America, and I think that's quite a deep. I guess a small moment, but I think it's quite it's symbolizing him accepting that he's not. He doesn't have to be Cap. And then even when he's trying to save it, all these Flag Smashers come out of nowhere, including Carly, and are basically trying to fight him and stopping him from saving them. And it works because they knock him down the building site, and he lands on the floor. He doesn't get a superhero landing. Because he's not a superhero. He's had one this series, so that's him all spent. And then as the van goes to drop, that's when Sam comes in. And again, I was questioning at first. I was like, how's, because he pushes the van back up, doesn't he, with his jetpack? And I was like, how's he doing it? He's not got super serum. How's he lifting this back up? But it is from seeing somebody on Twitter saying it's just an Iron Man suit, isn't it? Because Tony would be able to do it.
And the two Red Wings were on there as well, to be fair.
They were, yeah. But it's like Tony put a ferry back together. Do you know what I mean? And like lifted some proper heavy stuff. So it is perfectly reasonable that he's done that. And then again, the next little bit is when he puts the van back up and he lands, all the crowd are like cheering him, and we see an older black guy, and he's like cheering. He's like, "Oh, that's the Black Falcon! That's the Black Falcon!" And I thought that was good. And it was only when because the younger black guy says, "Nah, that's Captain America," and it's showing like it's kind of like Isaiah and Sam, isn't it? Because it's like Isaiah's like old school, and he's obviously been through a lot of shit, but he's saying a black man can never be Captain America, and he wouldn't want to be it. And it's now the obviously Sam, who's younger, saying no. I can be it, and a black person can be it. So I thought that was good as well. And then Cap drops down and he takes out all the Flag Smashers in one hit with his shield, and then as a bit of a.
Did you notice? Did you notice that it was almost exactly like the, when he was training and he shot it and it hit like 3 or 4 trees.
Yeah,
it was the exact same throw.
I didn't at the time. But I like that.
Yeah, it bounced off all of them, and it was exactly like the tree setup while he was traiing. So I quite liked that because it reflected that.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't notice at the time, but yeah, I like it. It's good, isn't it? So many like little bits like just like drop throughout the episode. So he has a bit of an argument with Carly. She says, I can't believe you of all people bought into this bullshit. And then he's saying like he's trying something different, and maybe you should too. And then pain in the backside, Batroc rolls up again with his smoke grenades again, because that's all he's got. And he gets Carly, and they escape. And then it's kind of like similar to when Zemo sort of joined the team, shall we say, Sam and Bucky. John's now like with them. John like goes after them. They all go after Carly and Zemo and Batroc together. But they split up. So Cap goes after Carly, and John and Bucky go after. I think they think they're going after Batroc and the Flag Smashers. And then we get the big reveal, which we'd guessed
Was it
at
big?
for weeks. Was it big?
Yeah.
What, Sharon being the power broker?
Yeah. I feel like it was thrown away.
I don't feel like it was thrown away. I think it was supposed to be a big reveal, but I think everybody expected it. And I don't think they gave away too much through the series. I don't. I think it was. I think it was such tiny little things to imply. I know, obviously, in the last episode we know that she was speaking to Batroc, but I think throughout the whole series it's been like tiny little clues that she's the power broker, but nothing massively obvious. I just think we're all so used to Marvel now, and WandaVision got us theorizing so much that's why people picked up on the fact that she was power broker from very early on. When it actually came out, it was like, I was a bit disappointed that she was.
Yeah. No, I thought we were going to get through. Like, I thought it was going to be a little bit like the whole Mephisto thing. We were insistent it was going to be him, and then it wasn't. Something like that.
And we just get a clue that she might be the power broker.
Yeah, and I thought that, like, I don't know. I feel like the way that conversation went, I didn't feel like it was scripted fantastically. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I just feel like the way that the reveal happened was just I'm the power broker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rather than it being like some big moment.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I don't know.
But I think if you hadn't expected it at all, I think if we hadn't expected it at all, even if it was done in the exact same way, the reveal, I think you'd have been like, oh shit, Sharon's the power broker. I think everybody got. I think this is one of the times when Marvel are great at twists, but I feel like this is one of the times when it felt. I think people went from the start of the series going, oh, do you reckon Sharon's a power broker? To the middle of the series, it was like, it's too obvious. It's too obvious. There's going to be a bigger twist. And I think there probably will be a bigger twist further down the line. But, which obviously, there's a lot of theories about it, and we'll get into them at the end. But I think it was just so many people had got onto it. That's why it was disappointing.
For me now, and this could probably go into the theories bit, but I would love it if we were to find out that halfway through this series at some point Sharon was taken by a Skrull, and half the series has been Skrull rather than Sharon.
Yeah, well, I think that is one of the theories. I think we've talked about that one before, haven't we? But I think that's a lot of I think we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but it was, I think at that stage we were like, it's a ridiculous theory, and now it's like, oh, it could probably be. I think she's probably a Skrull, but where she became a Skrull, has she'd been a Skrull since we met Sharon Carter? Has she been it from the start of the series? Did she? Is the real Sharon Carter still out there? Don't know. But I just feel, I feel like it was a bit. I'm with you. It was a bit of a letdown because I think it was too obvious, basically. Yeah. So we find that we get that big-ish reveal. Batroc shows up again, because that's what he does. He's just constantly sitting in the shadows, waiting for his little moment to pop up. And he's obviously at this point only realised that Sharon's the power broker, and he demands more money. I think he says he wants 4 times as much money, or he'll blow her cover. So Sharon just shoots him. That's it. That's the end of Batroc, which again is why I'm a little bit disappointed, because I think he was becoming a bit of a pain in the arse through the episode, but I think they could have done more. Could have done more with Batroc. But as she shoots Batroc, Carly shoots Sharon. Doesn't kill her, but shoots her. And then I think that's when Sam rolls up. So Sam shows up, and he ends up getting into a fight with starting to get into a fight with Carly. And then we jump to the Flag Smashers, who clearly weren't, as we said before, fully on board with Carly's plan to all kill themselves for the greater good, and they're clearly just they're like, nah, let's get out of here now. We need to go. We need to go. And again, talking about things being obvious, as soon as they opened that app and it was like, there's a Flag Smasher supporter telling us to come up this way, did you not get onto that straight away that it was going to be Bucky? Because he had the phone.
Yeah.
As soon as that popped up, I was like, it's gonna be Bucky. It was too obvious. So obviously they go up this staircase, don't they? And Bucky and John are there, and he's just like, "Great app, love it. I like the app." And then that's when John. I thought it was quite good because John does a little line. He says, "He just pops up. He's the first one to pop up, isn't he?" He says, "Mercy bears richer fruit than strict justice," and it's a quote from Lincoln. And I thought when it was quite again, it's kind of implying that John's he's getting on the good side, but he's not quite there yet because Bucky says, I think John says, "Oh, it's a great quote from a great man," and Bucky's like, "Yeah, not when you say it. Don't start quoting Lincoln." So I think it's like you've not come good enough yet to be quoting Abraham Lincoln. So we jump back to Cap and Carly, and he's basically refusing to fight her, and she's like, "Fight!" She wants to fight, and she's got. I think this is possibly the little bit where she's a little bit still unsure as to whether she doesn't want to kill him, does she? But she wants a reason to kill him. That's why she's like, fight back, because she doesn't feel like she can kill him in cold blood. But he ends up dropping the shield and refusing to fight her. And then that's when she pulls out the gun, and I think at that point she was literally about to shoot him, and Sam had sort of accepted it. I think Sam was on or Cap was on along the lines of, "Look, if I have to die for this, to sort of show you how, to show you how much you've turned, I'll do it." But then luckily Sharon pops up and takes out Carly, and that's it. Carly's dead. I thought she'd survive the series. I really did. I thought she'd potentially be like a Thunderbolt, go down the route of like an anti-hero Thunderbolt type thing.
No, because I think that her death makes her a martyr, and I think that it's not going to be the end of the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, maybe. It won't. It will. I don't think it's. I think it'll be the end of them as being not. Obviously, they're not terrorists, but them being construed as being terrorists.
Yeah.
There's only so many. There's only so many super soldiers, but now I think more people are on board with the idea as to what they stood for.
Yeah. Because I was a bit back and forth after that, because I was like, maybe she's a martyr for them because there are so many of them. And then the policeman said their quote, didn't he?
Which one? Oh,
as
he
puts them in the back of the van.
And
I was like, oh, is he going to save them? And then, no.
And then,
so that was a twist.
Yeah.
That was a short one.
We'll get to that one in a sec. So,
yeah.
So one, again, talking about like powerful images and stuff like that with like John throwing the shield down. I thought that next bit when Sam comes down and he's got Carly's body and he like flies down with the wings out and stuff like that. I don't know what they were going for there, but I was like, it was one of them like, one of them times when you see something in a show and it just sort of takes you back. And I thought that was like a really strong image. And then he does this. Sam gives this huge speech, which is, I mean, I'm not going to read through the whole speech. There's a lot to it, but it was a really powerful speech. The big things I took from it when he says, "Don't call them terrorists because they're not terrorists. They think you're terrorists because you're terrorizing them. Basically, we need to stop giving labels." He says that everybody now, because of the blip, has got one common struggle now, and now people at the GRC, it's the first time you know what it feels like to be scared and to not have full control. The other things he says like, "I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes, and people will hate me for picking up the shield. People are millions," and he says millions of people around the world, but even people now around here, I can feel people looking at me as if to say I shouldn't have this shield. And again, that's such a. I know we touched on the racism aspect a lot in the last episode, but it's like summing it all up here, isn't it? And he's making a stand. And then I think the biggest one, which a lot of people are taking out from it, is he says, "I've got no super serum, no blonde hair or blue eyes. The only power I have is that I believe we can do better." And then he says to them, "How are you going to use your power?" And it's people are going mental about the speech, and it was
amazing,
really good.
to
be
fair.
Such good acting by Anthony Mackie as well.
Yeah,
it was really powerful, and I think it was a very good way of summing up the whole message of what the series has been about, really. And again, I know we said like in the first few episodes of it, it wasn't skirting around the issue, but it was alluding to the issues and racial inequality and stuff like that. And in the last episode, it was really hit hard with it, and this one it just summed it up massively. And then I liked the way that it sort of. I thought because I think you'd gone from such a strong, powerful moment there, and they needed to move away from it. And it's not to sort of make it out as not being important, but I just thought the way they handled the move from that to Bucky going, Sorry, I was texting. I just heard you say something about a black guy started carrying the Stars and Stripes. I just thought it just took the way because they had to jump in some way from that super powerful speech to something a bit more lighthearted. And I thought it was dead good. I laughed.
Well,
I laughed when he said it.
The thing is, like, Bucky's character has never looked at race as a factor.
No, of course, yeah.
And I think that's why it was so good that that's how they did that. Because basically, when you do such a powerful statement, what you don't want is to keep that momentum going with more and more like really powerful things, because they can all kind of, if too much is thrown at you at once, it kind of you get a bit of white noise with it. So what they needed to change it straight away, so that that was the powerful moment. It's done, and then a little bit of comic relief.
It's a superhero show, isn't it, at the end of the day, so they had to bring it back down. But I think they did a great job of doing it,
because Bucky's never been asked about race and things like that. It's not something that he's considered.
He didn't realize, didn't he? He said it in the last episode. Me and Steve didn't understand. We never could understand how hard it would be for a black man to be given the shield. So
which is why I thought it was funny that that's what he said.
Yeah,
about that. I just thought it was a brilliant way to kind of round it off.
It was a good jump, wasn't it? And then that's when so I think Cap and Bucky and Sharon are talking, and he says, I'll get you that pod, and then that's when that guy, as we said, the same guy who questioned who are you and said I thought Cap was on the run, he just shouts, he says Cap, and it's like people are just now fully accepting Sam is Cap. And I think he tells him that the flag smasher we dropped in the river is still there, and we need to go and get him, and he flies off. And then that's when we get to these flag smashers. So as you said, the flag smasher, this was really good. I was wondering who would do when we panned. So the flag smashers are getting transported to the raft, and they're all getting put in this prison wagon, and then that's when the policeman says, "One world, one people." And I was like, "Oh no, they're gonna get away," but I kind of didn't want them to. I was like, "We need to wrap this story up." Do you know what I mean? I don't want there to be any more. Obviously, it needs to create more storylines in the MCU, but I did feel like the flag smashers as being construed as terrorists and these super soldiers. It needed to be either go to when they were going to the raft. It was like, okay, I'm all right with that. But when it was like, oh, they're going to get away again, are we going to then revisit this? But yeah, the van blows up, and I was like, when it started to pan, I was like, who is it? Who's this? Is this going to be somebody we don't know and we've not seen before? Is it going to be a big cameo? And it's just Zemo's butler. It was brilliant. It was Alfred. Alfred's gone on a killing spree, basically. I just thought, I like that. And then we jump to Zemo in the raft. And he's listening to the radio, and it says that the flag smashers are all dead, and the GRC has changed its policies, and it's probably one of the first times we've seen him look content, because he's just like, I'm done. He's done now, isn't he? That's his mission.
Yeah.
His mission was to get rid of all the super soldiers. He thought he'd done it in Civil War, which is why he was not happy to kill himself, but he was like, right, I'm over. I'm going to kill myself. And then he's obviously had to come back because it's there again. But I think he feels that the mission's over, and probably the maybe not John, but certainly with Bucky, I think he's quite okay with Bucky being a super soldier, because he's sort of he's not Steve, but he knows he's not going to go crazy anymore, and he's not going to go around killing anybody. So he seems quite happy with that. And then we jump to Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the full name. I'm not going to do the full name again. Val. Let's call her Val as John does. And she says, like, Zemo had the last laugh, and she starts going, did I do it? No, I didn't. But did I? No, maybe I didn't. But did I? And she's kind of like egging on John's wife, and it's like, I thought that was quite funny. And then we see John in his new suit, and she says things are about to get really weird. And when it all goes down, we're not going to need. I think she says America's not going to need Captain America. It's going to need a US agent, which is obviously who John became in the comics. I love
the way he was like, it's the same suit, just black.
yeah. And I quite like the bit at the end when he's like, I'm back, and stuff like that. But I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they do with him moving forward. We've got a lot of thoughts on it, and a lot of listener thoughts on it, so we'll go through that in a minute. But I would like him to be. I don't want them to go down the route of. I think there's a bit of a question as to whether we're going down the Dark Avengers route, and they're going to be. I don't know whether it's going to be like a super villain team, or whether we're going down Thunderbolts. I'd rather see John go down the anti-hero route rather than him going full on villain, in my opinion. You just don't like him. which I get. I fully get that. I
so angry.
wrap my head around it, but I'd like him to go down the anti-hero route.
I just think the redeeming was too quick.
I don't think he's been. I think if he's fully redeemed off the back of that, I agree. But yeah. I don't think. I think he's going to have to do a lot more before.
But to me, right now, I mean, I get that he did one thing to kind of help at the end, but Bucky was so quick to, like, when he did the Lincoln joke and he patted him on the shoulder and all that kind of stuff. I was like, what are you doing? Like, literally yesterday, he tried to kill you. Yesterday.
I know, but I think the thing with John. I mean, we said we were going to be sort of like jumping all over the place on this one because there's a lot to talk about, and we'll get into, like, listener thoughts in a second. But I think my opinion of that with John is, I think if you look back to the start of the series and look at his whole arc, at the very start of the series, he was. I know people didn't like him from the start because he wasn't their Captain America, and he wasn't who anybody wanted to be Captain America. But from him on a character level, he wasn't a bad guy. He didn't start off the series being a bad guy. In my opinion, what happened with him is he's lived through a lot. He's definitely got PTSD from being in Afghanistan, and the US government have tried to turn him into something, and he's run along with what they've done. And midway through the series, he's become obsessed with being Captain America. And he's similar to Carly, but not for the right reasons. He's gone down the route of, I will do anything I have to be Captain America. And it's not maybe a bit of a jealousy thing about Steve, but he became obsessed with it and went crazy with it. And I think that's how Bucky sees him. Bucky sees him as, this guy's gone mental. Maybe not started off as a bit of a dick, to be fair, but gone crazy with the wish for power. And him throwing down that shield was him going, I know I'm in the wrong, and I know I've done wrong. And he's not fully redeemed it yet, but that was the thing that's been turning him to be going toward the evil side. And then him throwing it away is like, I'm okay, I'm all right, I've done wrong.
Yeah, and this takes me to, like, another point, because I'm right. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that somewhere in one of the films in the past, they basically said, if you need the shield, you don't deserve the shield, or you're not worthy of the shield, or something along those lines.
So that's Tony says it to Peter in Homecoming. So when the ferry's been torn apart in Homecoming, and he says, "Give me the suit," and Peter says, "I'm nothing."
He says, "If you need,"
and he says, "If you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve the suit." Yeah,
okay.
But it is the same. It's the same.
It's the same kind of thing.
It's the same premise, and it's the same with, like, the serum. It's like it goes back to the Steve. The serum worked with Steve because he didn't want it, and that's why I think the serum would work with Sam, because Sam doesn't want the serum. He doesn't want to be it, and I'm not convinced that we won't end up going down that route at some point in the future. But and that's why it'll work on Sam, because he doesn't want it.
But that's also why I like the fact that Sam threw down the shield with Carly.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's the whole idea of, it's not the shield that makes me Captain America, or anything like that. It's the fact that I want to help.
Yeah,
I want to do right.
But that's But that is exactly what happened with John. He had the option to go after Carly and be big Captain America, or throw down that shield and not be Captain America anymore and save the hostages. And he threw down the shield, and that was him foregoing the role of Captain America and accepting I'm not Captain America. And I think that's why he was so happy being US agent at the end, because it was like, I'm still something, but I know I'm not Cap anymore. So that's why I think he'll end up going down I don't think he's ever going to fully redeem himself. I don't think everyone's going to be like, well, I mean, Zemo did. Do you know what I mean? But people love Zemo. I think Zemo's a great character, and I think John's a brilliant character, but I still fully get that. I don't 100% like him, and I get the hate. But we've got a lot of listener opinions on that, which we'll go through in a second as well. So so after we see John get made into US agent, we jump to Bucky. So Bucky's gone to see is it Yori is his name from the first episode, and he's going to give him closure. So he says he sits him down. He says, your son, he was murdered. He was murdered by the Winter Soldier. It was me, and I didn't have a choice. And you can see how hard it is for Bucky to be saying that. And then he leaves, and he's in tears. And then he gives the book he leaves a book for the therapist and says, I've crossed everybody off the list, so he's now done. And then he sees Yori in the restaurant, and it doesn't look particularly happy, but he looks a little bit more content.
This is the bit that broke my heart more than anything else.
Which bit? The bit with the Yori.
When he told him what he did.
It was horrible.
It was horrible.
I was sitting there like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? It was good. It was, and just looking at how upset Bucky was to be doing it.
Yeah. But he'd been told, didn't he? You know, it's not something to make you feel better. You're doing something that'll make them feel better.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. And he did it, and he's finished his book, and that's why he's gonna, he can move on now, can't he? And then talking about things that hit you hard. The next scene is with Sam, we call him Sam because he's not in Cap uniform, so we'll call him Sam. Sam goes to see Isaiah, and Eli answers the door, and he says Black Falcon, and I thought he's like, mind your manners or something, and it's Isaiah's sort of accepting now of Sam being, or a black, Sam obviously, but a black person being Captain America, because at first he clearly didn't think it should happen. It could happen or it should happen, but he seems to be a lot more accepting of it. And that's when Sam takes him to I think it's the Smithsonian where the Cap exhibit is. So he takes him to the Smithsonian, and he shows him this exhibit with the statue of Isaiah. And he says, now they'll never forget. And I wouldn't say I was crying, but that was the most emotional bit of the episode for me. It was the bit where I was like, wow, this is like I think really hard hitting. This is lovely, but
I think it was the second best way to kind of finish off Isaiah's story after him fighting alongside Cap, which I'm gutted that didn't happen.
I am devastated that didn't happen, but if they were going to go, I was genuinely, when we got there, I was like, it's not going to happen. No.
I know. I was really gutted. I was like, come on, Isaiah, just appear any minute now. Come on.
And then I think when Sam then went to visit Isaiah, I was a bit like, oh, I know he's got to, and this will be nice, and he's going to talk to him and stuff like that. But I think I went into that scene with a little bit of disappointment that your theory didn't happen. But by the end, I was like, yeah, they've nailed that. They did absolutely nailed that. And then the one of the last bits, we go to the party with Sam and Sarah. I assume they've got to keep the boat, which is great. And I thought the best, and I know the whole, this whole series, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so it's about both of them, but just how happy and carefree Bucky looked for the first time ever. Do you get what I mean? It's like you've never seen him act how he was acting. He was like jumping around and laughing with people and stuff like that. Yeah. And I just thought that was really, really good.
Well, it's been this whole thing. It like his arc has started from him being the loneliest person, and again, I said it last week with the woman from the therapy saying, I'm the only person you've rang in the last week. That is just sad. Yeah. Like, and now he's surrounded by a family.
Yeah.
So I love that, and they kind of like walk at the end. Like when they're kind of together and laughing and stuff like that. Yeah. It made me think of like the old 80s endings of films. Like Breakfast Club or something.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Well, just waiting for one of them to.
Honestly, I was waiting for Don't you forget about me.
That would have been dead. I would have been all right with that. That's an edit. We're gonna have to.
And then with Bucky's vibranium arm, he just does a little punch in the air.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and then the little roll he does with his shoulder that he always does. Yeah, I would have been all right with that. We'll have to. Someone needs to make that.
That'd be funny.
And then we got the end title card, and it came up as Captain, which we've mentioned already, but Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which I thought was just the fact. It was such a tiny little thing, but brilliant. Just find a little nod. And the music. I don't know what the song was, but the song.
Nobody was good, wasn't it? I liked it.
Oh, it was brilliant. Really, really good. And then we got a post-credit scene, which was Sharon getting pardoned by the guy who's been running the GRC, the senator. And he says she's got your old position in your old division is available, which I assume means CIA, because she left S.H.I.E.L.D., obviously, hadn't she, and gone to CIA.
And he talked about the Carter legacy.
Yeah, and he calls her Agent Carter, so she's Agent Carter. And then as she walks out, she's got it's just that like, that thud of music. It's like, boo. It's like this is bad. This was where this is going. And she gets on the phone and she said, I don't know who she's talking to, but she says, line up the buyers. We've got full access to prototype weapons, so there should be something for everyone.
Well,
and that's where the
I
episode goes.
so this is my theory.
Go on then.
Is that
Let's get into theories then.
So I think she was speaking to Madam Hydra.
I think that's very, very likely. Yeah, I think
I
she's been
think that
speaking
I think
to her
that's who she was talking to
because she's putting this team together.
Yeah, and I don't like, because I know I mentioned about potentially her being a Skrull, and I think that if this is a Skrull rather than actual Sharon,
yeah,
that Sharon has been held up somewhere. I don't know whether it might have been not long after the blip or something like that before she could re-establish herself.
yeah,
And I think that this potential little section could be part of the secret invasion.
yeah. I think that's very likely.
And I think that Madam Hydra is orchestrating the secret invasion with the Skrull.
Oh, do you? So you think Madam Hydra's a Skrull? See, I don't. I didn't think that.
No, I don't think she is a Skrull. I don't think
but
she is a
working
Skrull.
with them.
But I think she's working with them to do the
potentially.
secret invasion. And I think that, there could be a potential of the US agent coming into it. I think what she might be doing is, I think Madam Hydra might work both sides. Now, this is totally, I mean, I don't know what happened in any comics with her or anything like that. I think what she might do is use the US agent to fight the Skrull. She's orchestrating both sides, basically, but using the US agent to make herself look like she's the good guy to get her into positions and stuff.
Potentially, yeah.
So I think that's where it could all be going.
Yeah, I like that. I like that theory. I like that.
Thanks.
It's good. I like that. Should we do listener thoughts and theories then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first thought we had was actually not about Falcon Winter Soldier. It was from Stephanie Tittle on Twitter. She got in touch regarding the Shang Chi trailer, because I asked people what they thought about what the thoughts were on that, whether they were excited. And Stephanie said, the 10-year-old girl in me who sat in front of the TV in Hawaii soaking up every kung fu movie in the 70s and 80s is screaming right now. I never lost my love for those movies, and I'm so happy to see them part of my other movie love, the MCU. So excited. I agree. That's what we said before, isn't it? It's brilliant seeing something that we've not seen, like we had with WandaVision. But yeah, I know we've already said looking forward to it, but I think that's one of the big points of it as to what I'm looking forward to most, seeing like how they do that sort of movie, shall we say? But yeah, that's good. Thanks very much, Stephanie. So we've got, should we do, because we've got, I should have probably said this before, we've got, which is brilliant, we've had so many people get in touch this week with like theories and thoughts and giving us opinions and stuff. So should we do them like one at a time? So should we like alternate between the two of us?
Yeah.
Okay, so you run through the next one.
Okay, so we also had Keeper of the Sacred Flame from Twitter. Love the Captain America speech at the end, which, we fully agree. Power Broker reveal was expected after all the conspiracy. Was it obvious? Again, this was what we discussed before. So, we did think might have been too obvious, but that's the route it went down. Again, probably based off the fact that we've spent so much time heavily theorising on everything that we're overthinking every move that happens in the series.
I don't think that's a negative against Marvel. I think
I think
everyone's getting good at it and being able to start reading it.
Marvel audiences are turning to super sleuths. That's what's happening. Basically,
they're gonna have to. Marvel are gonna have to step up the game clearly, and get us all just throw in like proper random things, like really random. They don't even give us clues to. But yeah, thank you for getting that one over to us. We also had today. Kids, what are we watching tonight? Podcast on Twitter, with their opinion on John Walker, because I put out on Twitter this morning like what everyone's opinion was on John Walker, because me and you, Anthony, were a bit not agreeing on what we thought of him. So we asked what people's opinion were. We put out a poll as well, which I'll go through in a second. So Kids, what are we watching tonight? Podcast said they never hated him, and he had such a great character arc. It was awesome acting by Wyatt, obviously Wyatt Russell. Hope we see more of him in the future. I agree. I think if you've got a show where you've got a character and you hate that character so much, that's what makes a fantastic character. And the fact that Wyatt Russell did so well with it is a massive big up him, because he played it so well.
He did.
But yeah, thank you for that one.
Then we've got Wydra7 on Twitter. Sorry if I've said that wrong. It's giving me PTSD from Phage Rhymes with Phage.
We nearly
Always,
didn't get Phage Rhymes with Phage in there. Well done,
I
Nick.
know.
We got it in.
There you go. Always said John isn't a bad guy, just kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
pretty
succinct.
much. We do you know what? I agree with that. Even on his best day, I still think you're a dick.
Yeah.
I fully agree. And there's still something there that I just don't like. I still feel like he is out for number one.
Yeah. No, I don't. I think he'll always have that side of him. But I do think I hope that he goes down like as I said, like the anti-hero route rather than the complete evil supervillain route, because he could be as a super soldier, isn't he? And I think the last thoughts we had on John Walker before we go through I'll go through the poll, is from We Needed Roads podcast on Twitter. Really, we speak to these guys quite a bit on Twitter. Really big supporters of ours as well. So thank you for getting in touch. They put, I thought John Walker and Wyatt's portrayal of him was the best thing about the show. The show didn't land for me, and although the overall message of the show was good and Sam's speech in the last episode was brilliant, it was clunky in its delivery. However, I am looking forward to the fourth film. I think Wyatt and John Walker was a brilliant part of the show. And again, it's what got people talking. I think if they hadn't included him at all, or they'd watered him down a little bit, I don't think he'd have had as much people caring as much, because we didn't see that much of him in episode 1 and 2, and I think that's why maybe people were a bit like 1 and 2, and where people started getting really hooked on it, didn't they, when he started to properly turn. So I do think he's had a big part in that.
While we talk about that as well, just so that my opinion is out there, by far the fifth episode was my favourite. Out of all of the episodes, the fifth one was my favourite.
Yeah, it was good. What happened in the fifth? That was the last. That was the last episode, wasn't it?
No, second to last. Yeah, second to last.
Second to last, yeah. No, so I've got confused which episode is which. So just before we go on to the rest of them, should we just let's have a look at this poll. So as I said, I put a poll out this morning. I didn't give people long to vote on it, but I put a poll out this morning to see what people thought of John Walker. So I put, how are you feeling about John Walker after the Falcon The Winter Soldier finale? Do you still hate him? Are you unsure? Or are you starting to like him? We got we had 27 people vote on it, which I'm quite impressed with. 67% of people said they're starting to like him. Landslide. 26% said they were unsure, and 7% said they still hate him. So that was just you voting. That was just you going on Twitter and voting on our own Twitter. I'm not. I don't think I'm at the point where I'm starting to like him yet, but I'm definitely leaning towards that side. I think they could, with him now, they could either really take him down a dark route or get him to be. I don't think they'll have it sitting on the fence anymore going forward.
I think she'll find it easy though to push him into down the dark route.
Yeah, that's if she's
very
that's
easy
if that
manipulated at the moment. So
definitely,
I think she can make him think that what he's doing is right, but in fact it'd be horrendous. So yeah,
nice one. And then have you got one more thought on this one?
So we've got a thought, but obviously there's also a thank you here as well to Jessica Barry on Twitter, because this week we had an issue with Apple, quite a lot of other podcasts, and Jessica actually offered to help test a few things with her being a subscriber, and it was massively helpful. So thank you very much for that. We do really appreciate it.
We do.
But she put 10 out of 10 for the action, 7 out of 10 for the power broker reveal. Wish there had been a twist, same as me. I fully agree. 7 out of 10 for the wrapping up. Yori and Isaiah seemed a bit rushed, which to an extent, I can see that, especially because of the build-up to them throughout the series. 10 out of 10 for that end title. I thought the last 10 minutes were very rushed. Don't understand why they didn't just make the episode longer, which again you mentioned before. I didn't notice that it wasn't longer, but you said that it was quite short. And
Jessica
surprised
said,
us.
I think she got in touch earlier on Twitter as well after I put all these notes together, and she was saying they could have, the thing about Disney Plus is that you're not set with like limits. It's not that you've got 42 minutes or something like that, because it's got to go on telly and you've got to fit the adverts in. So why they didn't just give the episode an extra 10 minutes or 20 minutes just to go into a bit more detail with Isaiah and Yori's storyline. But she's quite right there, isn't she? But again, thank you, Jessica, for getting in touch and helping out as well, because we got stuck with we got stuck with Apple. Everybody did. A lot of people got stuck. They could have told me before I spent hours on the phone with them, but yeah. So theories. We have got a few theories from listeners this week. So we've got the Terrible Hook on Twitter coming up with the first one. Terrible Hook reckons that US agent John Walker will show up in Hawkeye as a tool of Madam Hydra, and then says in more ways than one. I don't know. I request elaboration on that. I don't know. I've got an idea as to I know what you mean by it, but
I request elaboration.
I request elaboration. I hope we see more of John Walker as soon as we can. Really, I hope we don't have to wait years to see him again. So I think if he pops up in something like Hawkeye, I think that'd be good. I'd be keen to see that. Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah. So Lana from Twitter, she said thinks Sharon is working for Zemo
rather than being the power broker, as well as being the power broker.
Yeah.
I can see it, and I think with it being such an, as we've said, like an obvious twist that she was the power broker, can you imagine if they just went full 180 on Zemo and was like, he's not good, he's lulled you all into a false sense of security, and he's like full on bad, and he's been manipulating this whole thing.
Yeah,
that would be maybe Marvel are better than we're giving them credit for at the moment, and it's just it's to lull us into a false sense of security. But yeah, I like that. We then had another theory from another Marvel guy who has got a YouTube channel. He said he thinks Sharon's working for herself, so she's not working for anyone else, and she just wants to get back at the government. And then, like you said, she could be a Skrull, and it's setting up secret invasion. And I think we obviously, you mentioned that before, and I think Paul Scott, who's got another theory you'll go through in a second, I think he mentioned that a couple of weeks ago as well, which is where we got into the theories that he thought he might be. And when we talked about that, as we said, I was like, this is definitely going in the ridiculous theories section. But Paul on Twitter was like, no, it's not ridiculous. I'm convinced this is right. And I was a bit like, yeah, maybe it'd be good, but maybe. And now I'm like, he was spot on. absolutely spot on. But I think you've got his theory for this week, have you?
Yeah. So he thinks, so this looks like it's about Loki. Thinks Loki is going to see New York Loki going after other variants of himself that have been created due to the branch timelines. Also thinks as Gamora is a variant, we might see him going after her. MCU TV, it's all about the cameos, and this would be a really good one.
Yeah. I like that.
Could definitely see that.
She is a variant. She is. She's from an alternate timeline, isn't she?
Yeah.
And I think that would be I'm sure that'd be really good if we could get Gamora and Loki. We've got to get it with him jumping from like different timelines and stuff like that. We've got to get a few cameos in there, haven't we?
Yeah. You'd hope.
There must be. Yeah, you'd think so. Everything. I think I saw some other article this morning, and it was talking about like how every Disney Plus or big Disney Plus show since like Mandalorian season 2 always throws in like a big cameo somewhere. So spoilers, we had Luke Skywalker at the end of the Mandalorian. We had teased a big cameo in WandaVision, but it was just Paul Bettany. And then obviously we had Julia Louis-Dreyfus in this, so we've got to have a big cameo. And I think if it was Gamora, that'd be really good. And then last theory we've got from this week from listener is from Geeky Nate on the Geeky Nate YouTube channel, friend of the show, helps us out with all my lack of comic knowledge, shall we say. He also has a theory about the Loki TV series. He thinks that it's going to see Loki cleaning up timelines created in Endgame, but also timelines that haven't actually been created yet, and things that could end up coming in Ant-Man Quantumania and Doctor Strange 2. So we could actually end up seeing futures that we can't link to events yet, which I think would be quite good, like teasing things that will come, like little hints as to like what's that about, and maybe like hints of Doctor Strange. That'd be good. And he also thinks that he could end up being responsible for all the what if universes as well, which I could see that because it's got to tie in some way, hasn't it? What if? I don't think it's going to be a throw.
Do you know what I think would be amazing at this point is if we have films coming out in the future, and just in the not even necessarily in the foreground, like in the background somewhere, you just see a quick flash of Loki.
I know, Owen Wilson just
in a
walking
scene
past
somewhere,
arguing.
yeah, or
That'd be
like
brilliant.
just legging it past or something, and it's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with that film.
Yeah.
But then it's brought into like the Loki series or something where you see it from his angle.
Yeah. Well, they're all about
Like,
they're all about the cameos, but they're all about like the little Easter eggs and stuff like that, aren't they, Marvel? So
yeah,
that'd be
I just think
absolutely
that'd be
brilliant.
really funny.
Yeah, or even if it was just like alternate films, like in one film Loki's in the background and it's like sees what's going on, like jumps into a portal or something, and then Owen Wilson like jumping out in the background and stuff. Little things like that. That'd be really
Like
good.
if there's a big battle or something, and then Loki just falls from a portal in between them, and then just goes, "Sorry," and then just like legs it or something dead daft like that. I just think it'd be hilarious.
I think the ideal time would be like if he could drop something like that into Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
because as far Loki probably won't know that future Loki has been killed by Thanos. So for him to bump into Thor or something, that'd be good. Or pretending that he's not his version of Loki and that he's the real version of Loki from that timeline, not knowing that Loki's dead.
Yeah,
and seeing the confusion on Thor's face. Yeah, that'd be good. I like that. Good one. Thanks, Nate. Do you think we've got time for me to put in a ridiculous theory? I've got a ridiculous theory, and it's ridiculous. It's not going to happen. But at the end of, and it's off the back of Sharon's like reveal at the very end of Sharon's post-credit scene when she was saying, "We've got something for everyone, and we've got prototype weapons." And I'd love this to happen, but it won't. It got me thinking about the end of, I don't know whether it was 1 or 2, but it was one of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films, and the fact that Oscorp had all the suits and the gear for the Sinister Six, and it got me thinking that my ridiculous theory is that she's working for Norman Osborn, and he's going to be putting together the Sinister Six, and she's going to get all the gear for them. And that's going to be wrong, but I just thought that'd be brilliant if that tied into Spider-Man and bringing in Norman Osborn. It's crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I just keep thinking about Willem Dafoe coming back as Green Goblin.
Like, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I want that more than anything.
I do. Well, we could end up
because I thought it was amazing.
If we're going to end up with multiple versions, but that's my ridiculous theory, and I said it was ridiculous because it's not going to happen. But that was the only thing that was the only thing. It just got me thinking of that. You know, when they were saying that we've got something for everyone. It was the same sort of idea at the end of one of the Andrew Garfield ones. But yeah, that's mine. Should we wrap up then?
Yeah.
Well done. So again, thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, please do leave us a 5-star review on Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts, or if you can leave reviews there. The reviews help us out massively. They really help us with getting noticed and other people picking up on the show, so we'd really appreciate that. If you want to get in touch with us, you can visit the website, so it's that superherothing.com. If you go to the contact us section, there's links to all our social media on there, but also you can leave us a voice message and we can include you in the show if you've got any thoughts or theories on anything we're talking about. On Twitter, we're at Superhero Thing, which is mainly run by me, and then on Facebook, Anthony is the guy for the Facebook page, so you can find us on there at that Superhero Thing. And that's it. And as I said, next week we will be doing a full breakdown and review of the Invincible series on Amazon Prime. So I've watched the first couple of episodes. Anthony, you've not seen any yet, have you?
I've not seen any of it yet. I'm going to watch it this weekend.
Really good. From what I've seen, really enjoyed it. Very not dark, but it's not for kids. I know it's a cartoon, but it's like an 18 plus. But yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that next week. And obviously you've got time now to try and cram
also if there's anything that you really do want us to go over the next few weeks, just make sure that you drop us a line and say it.
Yes,
because obviously we'll take influence as well from others. We want to know what you want to hear, and we'll do it. So because
we've got 7 weeks to fill now.
Yeah,
which makes us sound useless. We've got stuff that we're going to go talk about, and we'll obviously let you know as we go through the episodes. But it'd be great if we could get as many listeners as possible involved, and talk about what you want us to talk about, really.
100%.
But yeah, that's us all done. So from me, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Fab, thank you very much, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.